How's it going, friends? Reckless Yuki here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. And about 4 months ago, I purchased a lot of mice and a lot of mouse pads, trying to figure out which is the best for FPS gaming. And I compiled this list based on what the top CSGO players use, as well as what other YouTubers recommend as their favorite FPS mouse. Now, this video is going to go over one specifically, but if you'd like to know which is the gaming mouse overall, as far as for FPS games, then definitely check out the video in the link in the description. I basically went over all the 8 mice that I tested and compared them based on categories such as comfort, weight, and performance, since those are the 3 categories I feel are most important when it comes to competitive first-person shooter mouses. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the review, and if you're interested in that video, be sure to check out the link in the description. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the review. Here we are with a close look of the Zowie FK1, and this is the newest model which is available on the BenQ website, since apparently BenQ bought out Zowie, so it's now being distributed through BenQ, and I bought it directly from them because it wasn't available on Amazon at the time. Now, we're going to go over the basic specs of this before we get into my personal opinions and thoughts of the mouse specifically. The sensor of this mouse is an Avago 3310 optical sensor, which is basically the same as the Pixart 3310, since apparently Avago entered a licensing deal with Pixart, so they are no longer making sensors. So basically everything is made by Pixart now, especially if it has something that, basically if it's from Avago, it is from Pixart. So the polling rate of this mouse can be switched between 400, 800, 1600, and 3200 with the press of this button here, which is the DPI switch at the bottom. So as we scroll through, red means 400, this purple color means 800, this blue is 1600, and this green is 3200. So that is how you switch between the DPIs. I personally like having it set to 800. Now, the polling rate of this mouse can be switched between 125, 500, and 1000 hertz. And to do that, I'll show you in a little bit. We'll kind of go over the guide, since this is the only mouse I ever owned that I actually needed to keep the user manual. The advertised weight of this mouse is 90 grams, and I did my gaming weight where I tested the weight of the mouse with the about 1 foot of cable, and it came to 90.38 grams. So it was basically the advertised weight of the mouse. And the cable is a non-braided cable, so I think that saves a lot of the weight, which I wish all mice did have, so that it wouldn't be adding to the weight of the mouse, since you could kind of expect maybe about 1 foot of cable to be added to the weight as you're moving the mouse around as you add the drag. So that's basically what I have here. And the orientation of this mouse can really suit palm or claw type users. I'm a hybrid between palm and claw, so it's kind of perfect for me. And I guess the orientation of this is basically ambidextrous, is perfect for left and right-handed users, since it's basically the same shape on both sides. They even have buttons on the left and right-hand side, and you could even switch this between a left-handed and right-handed user mouse. So it's a pretty cool mouse for, anyone who wants to be a left-handed gamer. This is a mouse that I would probably recommend. Now, the comfort of this mouse, or at least the finish of the mouse, it has this nice rubberized grip at the top and bottom and side. So I mean, it has a nice finish, which my sweaty palm definitely makes it glow and shine, because it just seems to like my sweaty palms. But even with my palms being sweaty, it never feels like I'm going to lose control of it. And as far as the click and the feel of it, the clicks feel just fine. Like whenever I'm moving about in a first-person shooter, whenever I want to basically fire and aim on someone, the mouse gives me feedback that ensures that I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing exactly what I'm intending to. So I enjoy that. The weight of the mouse, it's 90 grams, so it's about similar to all the other mice that I have. And I personally prefer the weight of the Final Mouse Tournament Pro, which is a little bit lighter, but this isn't much. I don't really feel that big of a difference. Just subjectively and subconsciously, I kind of have a gripe with the mouse, since those numbers aren't as low as the final mouse that I have, but this is still just fine for anyone who likes the kind of feel of this mouse. Now, as far as the size and the orientation of it, when I grip it, I place a lot of the weight of my hand right here on this portion, and I usually place it right on the bridge of the mouse. And when I do that, I extend my middle and ring finger, and then I kind of turn my thumb, ring, and pinky into a claw type grip. Now, to do this, it kind of hurts my hand a little bit because of how narrow this region is. When I do this, it kind of stretches out this region of my hand where it doesn't really feel comfortable as I grip the mouse the way that I want to. And then the way that I have my hand situated on my desk, I always feel my palm and basically this area of my palm kind of rubbing against the desk more so than with other mice because the height of this mouse is very low. It's a very kind of low rider style mouse. So it kind of forces me to go into more of a claw grip, especially because my hands are large. I wear a size L motorcycle glove. So basically large size hands. And it kind of forces me to use a more of a traditional claw grip where you basically only have this in your fingertips touching the mouse. And then I don't really prefer that. I like the way that I do it, but when I do it, I feel like my palm is just dragging on the surface even more so. So it's not necessarily the most comfortable mouse for me for my grip style. Now, as far as responsiveness, it feels pretty responsive for the most part. At 1,000 hertz, though, it doesn't feel as responsive as some of the other mice, like from Logitech or from Final Mouse that I use. But if you switch this to 500 hertz, it feels, maybe a little bit better. I'm not sure if it's just subliminal or placebo, but I think I enjoy having this set to 500 more so than 1,000. But that could be due to your own personal preference and what you like on how you control the mouse. But for me, it's usually better to set it at 500. But I still don't like this as much as the other mice as far as in the responsiveness department. Now, as far as shake with the mouse, if I press all the buttons and try to rattle it around, like I hear something rattle, like that's just something I can't get over with these mice. So like I'm pressing both side buttons. I'm going to press these side buttons too. I'm going to, all right, let's see. I'm going to try to get all these buttons pressed. Okay, so everything's pressed. Well, actually, maybe not. No, there's something rattling in here. Let me just use both hands and yeah, I just can't like shake the fact that like this sounds like something is loose in here. So it could be the sensor that might be shaking slightly. It's not a deal breaker, but that could be something that you might need to be aware of as far as the build quality of the Zowie FK1 from BenQ. So that's just something I noticed. And as far as any sort of adjustable weights, there is no adjustments with this mouse. As far as any cosmetics or anything, the only adjustments you can make is with the DPI and even the polling rate and even the orientation of the mouse. So that is basically, and there is no real firmware updates or any programs. Basically, you just have to hold the buttons that you need to do in order to change things. And this is the first mouse that actually needed to maintain the user guide here because the user guide has a lot of information on how to manually control the mouse in the different settings. So as we open up, this is the top view of the mouse and it kind of lays out all the buttons of being button 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these are important to know because these are the things that you need to do in order to change the side buttons. So if you want a left-handed or right-handed mouse, it basically will swap the left and right click and the side buttons in which you use if you're going to change from a left-handed to a right-handed user. And then the changing of the DPI is labeled here, which I showed you guys in the video. But if you forget which color is which, you don't feel like guessing, it basically lays it out right here as far as which color for which DPI. And the real important thing is the adjustment of the USB polling rate or the report rate. So it basically tells you to hold button 5, which is the forward button, when plugging in the mouse into the USB. Or you hold button, or basically the button 5 is for 500 hertz, button 4 is for 1,000 hertz. And if you want 125 hertz, you have to hold both 4 and 5 when plugging in to get 125 hertz. Now, each time you unplug and replug the mice, you don't need to redo this step. It basically stores the information on the mouse itself. So if you want to change from left to right-handed, you basically have to press the orientation of either 2 and 3 or 1 and 3. And then while you're plugging it in, it will save it. And then you just unplug it and then hold whichever button you want for your associated polling rate. And that's basically how you set up the mouse to your own personal preference. So once again, the guide is also very useful. Or if you lose the guide or you don't have it, then this video could be something that you could come back to in the future. But anyways, that's how you kind of manipulate the Zowie FK1. And, like my opinions on this is it's not my favorite mouse to use because it doesn't feel as responsive as some of the others. And also it's not the most comfortable for me with my large hands and the type of grip that I like to hold the mice with. It's just not the best mouse for me. But anyways, that's my thoughts and opinions on it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys again in the next video. Be sure to check out my other mice reviews, as I'm reviewing them a lot. So hope you guys enjoy. All right, bye.